Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? It's the Dorn Keebler here. Okay? For the Dorn Keebler stream. Okay?
Excuse me.
But it's not my birthday today. Today is Transgender Suck Day. That's what my birthday stands for. Now, let's go ahead and get Minecraft Dungeons booted here. There we are. I don't care. It's not fucked to me. Just ignoring that. Anyways, let's get down to business. It wasn't a joke, by the way. I'm 100% serious. But anyways, let's get down to business here. Appreciate it. So today, we're going to go ahead and get in with the redstone mines. Guess we're going with normal difficulty today. I don't know if those minecarts kill me. Don't particularly want to find out. No, but I'm not joking. I think we have to avoid that fire. I mean, why would I joke about something so serious anyways? You know? I mean, today isn't about me. You know? It's about what really matters. Oh my god, it's a boss fight. Oh no! Might be about to die. Dorn Keeler don't give it a rest, not even on his birthday. Maybe my birthday. But we can't forget about all the scumbags who are trying to turn this into a socialist country, you know? Awful. Just awful. People like me, they don't get a birthday under the rule of these people. Let's not forget about that. And we can't forget that we're fighting a battle here, you know? Against socialism. Believe me, the last thing I care about today is my birthday, you know. I care about my country. I care about my country, that these people are trying to turn into a socialist country, which is just, in general, just a better concept on paper, to be honest. Just like communism. That's typically how things are that aren't thought out very well, you know? They're usually better on paper. Like the idea of socialism. I mean, there's literally people who go around and interview the people who are homeless on the streets of Portland, and you know what they say? They say, I want to be here. You know? They say, they feed us, and then we go and do drugs. And they feed us, and then we go and do drugs. You know. I mean, I've seen all the interviews, you know. Oh, I just fell down here. A lot of people are homeless by choice. Not everybody, but the majority are homeless by choice. My birthday didn't stand for something bigger than me, then it'd be a day wasted. You know? Jesus. Wasted potential. You know? I mean, I'm just so sick of the idea of a progressive transgender utopia. It's just... Nightclub City. I mean, if I were to choose between a fascist dystopia and a transgender, in quotes, utopia, where I'm legally required to refer to a man as a woman, I think I'd rather choose the fascist dystopia, you know? Any woman can call herself a man, come into the same bathroom as me, you know? Toddlers can gender transition. That's just disgusting. So is AI surveillance. I mean, the world just isn't meant to be run by mentally ill teenagers. It's just not how it's supposed to be. Just because we agree on certain aspects of AI surveillance and on certain aspects of government corruption does not mean we'll agree on everything. I'm not really all for the idea of ignoring biological realities just for the sake of inclusivity. I think that's delusional. Especially with this lady who strangled her 3 children. You know, that being a subject that's even up for debate. That's fucking crazy, dude. I'm just tired of pretending like, you know, pretending like this is even something that should be a controversial subject.
So the rumors were true. The Illagers are building a dreadful forge under the mountain.
Don't think we're gonna go with. I don't think we're gonna go with the farmer. It's definitely not as peak as this other armor that I have. I do like to have a variety of different things to use. These are just both not very good. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I support something that I don't, you know? Out of fear of not being liked? I don't think so. Sounds like a waste of time. And truthfully, if you're afraid to stand strong on a belief you have because you feel like, somebody else won't like you as much, I mean, it's not a good sign, for your ability to think for yourself. That's what I've realized. I can think for myself, and I do.
The art.
We can agree on a handful of subjects, but you'll never convince me that transgender is something that I should support. It's just not gonna happen. It's mainly because of how many fucking logical fallacies there are. For the sake of inclusivity. I think those are traps, or there's like an illager thing attacking me. What's that guy over there? And then anybody who disagrees with transgender, I mean, they say nasty, nasty things, And all I'm really saying is that if you're a man, you're a man, and if you're a woman, you're a woman. You can go and tell yourself whatever you want. It doesn't affect me, you know what I mean? I'm still gonna uphold my opinion, which is largely based in fact at this point. I mean, it's a fact that women can get pregnant and men can't. It's a fact that, men have a muscular advantage over women in sports. Jesus. I just realized I wouldn't be being real if, I didn't make it clear what my opinion was, on transgenderism as a whole, Which is that I don't support it in the slightest. Not even, no ifs, ands, or buts. Don't support it at all. I think it's a tragedy how far it's gotten. How much they're getting away with, you know what I mean? It's just fucking disgusting. I've talked about this pretty extensively with quite a few different people, some being transgender, And on one hand, transgenders say things like they don't believe in gender norms. But then suddenly, because you do all the girly things, that makes you more of a woman. I thought there wasn't girly things. I thought, like guys could like girly things and girls could like guy things, I guess, But it's clear to me now that nobody believes in gender norms like a transgender does. And that's just the truth. Nobody believes in and advocates for the idea of gender norms like a transgender does. I mean, you can't tell me there's no such thing as a girl thing or a guy thing, and then go and try to convince me that because you do all these quote in quotes girly things that makes you more of a woman. You know what I mean? I was talking to someone, and I have screenshots of this, by the way. I kept them, you know. I kept them because I literally couldn't even believe what I was reading. This person was telling me that it makes them feel more like a woman because they've been abused by men previously in their life, which I think is just fucking terrible. I think that's an absolutely terrible thing to say, you know? Absolutely disgusting thing to say. How could you even fucking say that? That's completely disgusting. You know what I mean? Like, I've had pretty extensive conversations about this. I've asked lots and lots and lots of questions, and the answers I've gotten are just sick. You know? They're either sick, delusional, or, you know, logical fallacies everywhere as far as the eye can see. You know. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend like this is okay, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna pretend like this is normal, because it's not. You know? Meanwhile, during this conversation, you know, I wasn't being insulting, you know? They were telling me I was being insulting by just stating a fact, which is that, you know, like, being transgender doesn't actually make you a woman. You know what I mean? That's about the only, in quotes, insult that I dropped during this entire conversation / debate that we were having, you know? You know, the more they tell me their story, the more it just sounds like they've had a very rough life, and you know, they tell me about things like self-harm and all these things that are very much so things that happen when you're mentally ill, you know? And not things that are happening to a person who isn't mentally ill, you know? I'm mentally ill, and I've struggled with self-harm previously in my life, you know? I take a lot of my information from the words of transgender people themselves. We've talked about this extensively, you know, in great detail, discussing all the things, you know, all the details, and, you know, it never falls short of mental illness. But I'm sick of being nice about it, because they're never nice, ever, you know? It's always just rudeness and ugliness and just awfulness, and I'm sick of being, you know, I'm sick of being the non-insulting side of this, you know? Like, I don't give a fuck anymore. You know, I gave it a chance, and I wasn't insulting, and at this point, I don't care, you know? I guess that's the attitude I should have had from the beginning, you know? So I could at least be in the same playing field. You know, in the same ballpark. So let me tell you, that's not the attitude I had in the beginning. You know? Oh. It was a mature conversation, you know. And now it's not anymore, but it was, you know. I gave maturity a chance, and it got me nowhere, you know. But it did get me a ton of information about just how delusional it gets, you know, because we did talk about it extensively, you know. I'd say that entire conversation probably had about, like, probably somewhere around 200 to 300 replies of just discussing it, you know. Just trying to get to the bottom of it. And, you know, there is no bottom. It's bottomless because of the excuses, you know. And if you can't even fucking tell me what a woman is, by no means should you be a fucking teacher, you know? By no means should you be a fucking college professor, you know? I don't want to live in a world of sexuality. I don't want to live in a world of fucking perversion and sexual deviancy. It's just, it's fucking, it's disgusting and problematic for everybody. I choose not to live in a world of sexual deviancy, you know. Why the fuck are there so many hallways in this place? God damn it. And it's a fight that, you know, I'm going to have to put up. You know, I'm going to have to stand my ground on this, you know, because people can be really awful. Somebody told me they'd take my fucking head off. So, you know, a lot of violence too. Tell you what, I haven't so much as told somebody to even kill themselves or anything like that. You know, because usually I'm not calling people names. I'm just trying to get information so I can better understand why this is something that I should support. And the only information I've been given is information that tells me that this is something that I shouldn't support. Wait, no, I know there's more here. Who fucking cares about my birthday, you know? Because there's a lot more going on than my birthday. You know? There's a massive force of sexual deviancers, I guess, working against my existence. Pretty sure I haven't been through this one. I mean, there's a massive force of people working against a world that makes sense. Doesn't matter how smart somebody usually is, usually they'll just make random and stupid fucking exceptions to things that make zero sense, you know, for the sake of inclusivity. And then, you know, when somebody asks some real questions, they just don't really say anything, or they just kind of graze over the subject, you know, refusing to give a direct answer, you know. Or an answer that even remotely makes sense. It's all a bunch of bullshit. I don't know if this would affect us. I'm well versed in the transgender argument. You know, I know what they say. And I'm not convinced. You know, not even in the slightest. In fact, the more I know, I feel like the less convinced I am. I want to check out this bow. Doesn't really shoot more arrows than one, which I don't really particularly like. I need to get up there. I missed a thing over here. But I mean, it was these transgenders that chose to give me their perspective. If you feel confident enough to, you know, to go in and try and give your perspective on the spot, you know, like, good. Then I get to know more. And now I do know more. And I'm not even convinced in the slightest. I'm honestly even more concerned than I was. I'm even more less supporting of it now that I know more. You know? Not to mention, while you're having these conversations, you get these other fucking weirdos who come in and just talk over each other. Like, you know, like this one person comes in and feels like they need to speak for this transgender person I was talking to. You know? Like they're coming in and being the hero for this person. Like this person can't speak for themselves. Interesting. Very interesting. You know? Savior of the gays over here. Savior of the transgenders, more specifically. Oh, jeez. Saving from what? You know? Giving too much information to me? Telling me too much about the truth? What it really is? You may not consider yourself a woke extremist, but they do exist. You know? It's a bad look for you. I get it. You know, in your totally progressive view style where you can't be wrong because obviously you're so morally bound. You know? I feel like a better word is biased. God, that was kind of a waste. Good God, when does this level end?